Finally, Nintendo has let us know that they're bringing out a new Nintendo Switch. The rumors can stop already. I'm curious though, let me know down in the comments below. Are you excited for the Nintendo Switch OLED model? Are you going to be trying to grab one October 8th? Are you going to be armbarring grandmas and suplexing babies to get one of these in your hands? Let me know down below. But let's get this discussion started because I have some thoughts concerning this. I guess the Switch Pro rumors can be set to rest for a little while, but I feel like that's going to be even a bigger discussion going forward after seeing what this thing actually is. Now, this is Nintendo being Nintendo. Comes out October 8th, $350. Still in that, similar price range that they're trying to stay in. At least it's not $400 or $500, but it is $50 more than the original model. Now, with this thing, what are the upgrades? We're going to be looking at the tech specs between this and the original version, and if you're not really deep into all the information on this, you'll be surprised to see what the specs are. I mean, maybe you won't, because this is Nintendo being Nintendo, right? And I feel with this Switch OLED model, this is extremely unnecessary, but at the same time is necessary. And I'll get into that a bit in a moment here, but let's look at what we're dealing with. The new system has a vibrant 7-inch OLED screen, and now we have a wide adjustable stand. And I argue that is one of the biggest improvements here, because holy crap, that little tiny crappy stand on the Nintendo Switch, I'm always having that on my kids anyway, because I don't really mess with mine too much. I have a day one Switch. It's still pretty minty. So I'm excited for this, but then at the same time, I don't need it. But that little stand, like on my kid's Switch, I'm always having to pop it off and like kind of, I don't know, like breathe on it, get some heat on it, and kind of mold the plastic back so it stops flopping off of the stand. It's just a weak stand. But they got a wide one on this, and that's huge. That's huge. So we got that 7-inch OLED screen, adjustable wide-ass stand, a dock with a wired LAN port. That is good. That is good news. And then these guys, they went all out. 64 gigabytes of internal storage. Oh my God. I got to rub my hands together in excitement. They doubled it. 32 gigabytes. Now we get 64. I mean, I'm being a little odd about that. The Nintendo Switch, and I've seen it plenty of times, people have mentioned when I've talked about other systems, and, I'm not a crazy fanboy when it comes to any of this stuff. I just love gaming, and I have, all these systems. But one thing that a lot of people always point out is, like, why doesn't Nintendo get flack for you buy their system, almost immediately you got to buy a memory card for it. Now, granted, micro SD cards are not crazy expensive, unless you're buying like the Nintendo branded ones for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, they've been pretty stingy with the onboard storage here, and 64 gigabytes isn't really anything to jump up for joy, because you're still going to wind up going out and buying a micro SD card and popping it in there. I didn't think at first the 32 gigs was going to be a big deal, because I buy, mostly physical games. But yeah, I mean, within the first 6 months of buying the Nintendo Switch when it first came out, I did have to get a micro SD card for it. So yeah, I mean, wow, 64 gigabytes, big deal. Enhanced audio, there we go. What else do we have here? So feast your eyes on the OLED screen. I find this interesting that this is what they're doing. Find your best angle. It's cool because, yeah, you could kind of adjust it. And I like that. I like that. The dock here, built-in wired LAN port. That's a nice thing, man. A lot of people want to... I have one of the USB LAN adapters for the Switch. I don't know where it's at right now. I like to have a wired connection, and that's a big thing for a lot of people. At least you don't have to fork out any additional money there. Oh, they're going all in. They got to double mention that 64 gigs, right? Enhanced audio. It's just the onboard speakers. It's not like, oh, you're getting any kind of enhanced audio plugging this thing into your TV, right? 3 modes in one. What do they mean? Oh, TV mode, tabletop mode, and handheld mode. I'd argue tabletop mode and handheld mode, there's a thin line between those two. It's 2 modes, in my opinion. But I get it. I get what they're saying here. This is Joy-Con. The included Joy-Cons. See, when I first seen this, and I saw the little video that they played, I was like, if you just saw this, it would look like, to me anyway, to be like, it's just an advertisement for Metroid Dread, because, looking at this, it wasn't that surprising. It just looks like a regular Switch to me. I was, oh, okay, they got new Joy-Con. They got white Joy-Cons. Do they have white Joy-Cons right now? Have they solved the drift issues? Nintendo's not above criticism, my friends. And I love Nintendo. I love the Switch, but, you know, yeah, we can criticize plenty with what they're doing. I love a lot of the games that they've put out. I'm looking forward to Metroid Dread, even though I have some thoughts on that as well, which I've already discussed. But the main thing here is there you go. They stretch the screen out. The bezels are thinner now. Essentially, the form factor is going to be the same. I don't want to play through this whole video because, I mean, there's really nothing going on here with this thing. I'll put a link in the description if you actually want to watch this whole thing. I do like the way the dock looks. There's going to be two colors, this white one, and then there's going to be the neon red-blue version. But it does look, you know, a little more sleek. I give them that. But, I mean, this advertisement here that they're playing, I mean, it's kind of blurry right now for some reason, you know, buffering or something here. But, I mean, yeah, what is there to get excited about? This is essentially just the new Switch taking over the old Switch at a $50 markup with a few better specs. So the OLED model, the OLED model, whatever you want to say, 4 inches high, 9.5 inches long. When you compare that, and 0.55 inches deep, when you compare that to the original model, almost the same. 4 inches high, 9.4 inches long. So essentially, just 0.1 inches longer. That's with the Joy-Cons attached. Nothing crazy. Weight for the OLED model, 0.71 pounds. The original, 0.66. So it's got a little extra ounces there. 6.2-inch LCD screen, 1280 by 720 for the original model. This new model, what do we got going on? 7-inch OLED, 1280 by 720. So it's just going to be a brighter, more vibrant looking screen. The screen is going to look nicer. The CPU, GPU, they're just listing it the same as both. NVIDIA custom Tegra processor, no actual specs involved there. So I've already seen some people state that Nintendo's stated it's the same processor. Like nothing is different with that. So there's not going to be that like, oh, there's only the OLED model version games and that kind of thing, or improvements. They're just sticking to the same hardware, just updating the screen essentially and having those few little, improvements, right? Internal battery, 4,310 milliamp hours. What was it? Battery life, 4.5 to 9 hours. Depends on how you play. So what do we got? 4310 for that, and then the original, I honestly don't even remember. 4310, same battery life, same battery. Charge time, 3 hours. Is it the same for both? Yeah, so not a lot is really changing here. Not a lot. And are people going to be fine with that? I mean, Nintendo's doing Nintendo. When you really look at it, and like I said earlier, I feel this revision is unnecessary and necessary at the same time. And what I mean by that is it's unnecessary for somebody like me or you who already has a Nintendo Switch to go run out and buy this unless you need it. But with video games, it's a want, not a need. And these video game systems, if you're a person like me who likes to get the newest stuff when it comes out and follow along, Nintendo's the masters of these incremental revisions. I mean, you saw it with the 3DS. You saw it with the Nintendo DS. You've seen it with a lot of their systems over time. Mostly their handhelds. But that's where the line is being blurred with the Nintendo Switch. This is their handheld console. That's why there is no new DS system out there, no new Game Boy system. This is their handheld. It almost seems like, yeah, there's no other handheld. You know, they're not going to have another system side by side. It's just the Switch and that's it. And I think a lot of people are fine with that for the most part. But when you look at the lifespan of their handhelds, holy crap, the original Game Boy came out in '89, and the revisions with that, how long did that last? They had revisions through the Game Boy Color all the way up to 2003 was the lifespan there. That's a long freaking time, homie. That's a long time. They're doing 10 plus years on these things, right? The Game Boy Advance, 2001, all the way up to the Game Boy Micro lifespan was 2009. Still a respectable lifespan with the revisions they had, the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, the different screen variants, right? The Game Boy Micro. Crazy stuff, man. they like the line of handhelds that they do, they last for a while, a long while. When you look at the DS came out in 2004, and those revisions lasted until the DSi XL 2014, 10 years. And I feel like they're doing the same thing here. The Switch has been out for over 4 years now, and were they going to blow their load with the Switch Pro? A lot of us were thinking they would. Like, get something out there with more power. I've kind of expressed some of my concerns with the Switch. It's about the games, and any system you can say that about. It's about the experience. It's about the games. The power behind the system could be a selling point, and for an established brand like Nintendo, they can get away with more than others and not face as much scrutiny, which they still do. Like I said, they're not above criticism, but they put out these cheaper processors and graphics units and whatnot in their consoles, and you would think like, well, that can't compete with other consoles, and it doesn't. Nintendo doesn't really compete with others. I think a lot of people have a Nintendo console alongside their Xbox or their PS5 or PS4 or their gaming PC. I think like Nintendo's almost like a supplemental thing. Sure, there's a lot of people that's all they game on, and that's great. But yeah, just the way they're going about this, it seems like even with we're talking about the lifespans here, the 3DS came out in 2011, and that thing lasted till like present, but they kind of stopped. I mean, I'm reading a little note here. 3DS came out way back when, and they stopped producing them, I think, last year or so, or somewhere around there. So it's that almost had a 10-year lifespan as well. Did it come out in 2011? I thought it came out earlier than that. But yeah, I mean, the point is that all of these like Nintendo products, these handhelds, have had a very long lifespan, and with the Nintendo Switch being a handheld console type thing, it seems like they're going for that same lifespan. Like, we're not even at the halfway point with the Switch yet. So this is a very tiny incremental improvement. And will there be a Switch Pro? Of course. I'm pretty damn sure. You had the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the 2DS, the new 3DS, and stuff like that. Then when you go back to the DS, you had the DSi, all that. I think they're going to be doing the same thing here. And like I said, I think it's unnecessary for some of us, but then for others, hey, cool, you don't have a Switch or you need to replace one, just get the newer version, right? But I feel it's more necessary for Nintendo to expand the lifespan of the Switch. Of course, people are going to buy this thing. I'm going to buy one. I don't need it, but I'm going to buy one. I'm crazy like that. And I think a lot of people will double dip, triple dip, quadruple. I have kids. We have Switch lights, and we have more than what we need, but there's going to be people who buy this just to get it because it's the newest thing, but it's not a crazy improvement upon what they've already done. It's just a stepping stone to whatever's next with the Switch line of devices, and I wouldn't be surprised a year or two another model gets announced. I mean, you got to look at the previous handhelds and when each one came out. I mean, let me pull that up real quick. As far as the DS came out 2004. The DS Lite came out 2 years later. The DSi came out 2 years after that. The DSi XL came out a year after that. So that, I mean, is it possible within a year to 2 years another Switch variant could come out? Not a collector's edition, not a reskin, but specs-wise, I'm pretty sure within a year to 2 years we'll see another one. It's bound to happen, and I'm really surprised Nintendo's, they're I mean, I'm not really that surprised, Nintendo being Nintendo, but I'm just surprised, more shocked. I'm not surprised that Nintendo did this, but I'm just like, a little bit of disappointment settles in that, yeah, we got the same resolution, we don't have 4K, like a lot of things aren't happening. Maybe there's some undercover shit going on here where some things will be unlocked. Maybe it does have a new processor and whatnot, we just don't know. But from everything I've seen, it's just an incremental aesthetic type thing, functionality with the stand, the LAN port, the better screen. That's about it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Really do appreciate y'all hanging out with me on this one. Thank you. Big ass thumb button in your face. Peace out. Bye-bye and boom. Bye.